Wow, it was some weekend. It was so beautiful around western Washington. Temperatures were mostly in the mid-60s yesterday, and it felt pretty nice to be out in the sunshine. Of course, it was an exciting sports weekend around Puget Sound. As we head back to work today, though, more of the same. You can see from mid-morning, just a gorgeous morning up there in Whatcom County at Bellingham, looking out across the water and looking out towards the Olympics and across Possession Sound from Everett. Nothing but blue and blue there. A little bit of smoke haze looking towards the south, and some of that's bleeding over from eastern Washington. We're going to see a little bit more of that in the next day or so as we're developing some offshore winds. It's going to be warming us up, but it's also going to be bringing some of that smoke haze west, which you'll see in the air. It doesn't look like it's going to have a significant effect on our air quality here in western Washington, but you're probably going to see that as we get later into the day today and tomorrow. But it switches back to onshore by later Tuesday, and that should all get blown away and back to blue skies once again. Temperatures this morning definitely fall out there, mid-30s to mid-40s most spots. So it's the first morning you probably did not want to leave the house without a jacket, but you want layers because it's going to end up being a very mild afternoon. In fact, we'll be into the upper 60s and low 70s today, and maybe even hit mid-70s in a few places Tuesday before a cool down midweek with just a couple of showers and even cooler as we head into the weekend. So fall is here, but we're still going to see a little bit of summer weather for a couple of days. Big ridge of high pressure sitting right here. That's going to continue to give us those offshore winds as it builds inland. That's going to help push the temperatures up into the upper 60s and low 70s today, upper 60s and low to maybe some mid 70s in the South Sound tomorrow before we drop about 10 degrees as we head towards Wednesday and the remainder of the week and start to see a slight chance of showers from systems that are just brushing by us, it looks like. Take a look at our situation for this evening for the full moon, and it's going to be full officially at 8:47, and it's going to be the harvest moon because it's the closest one to the fall equinox, and it's also going to be a supermoon that's going to be occurring. There's moonrise at 6:18 of the supermoon, which means basically it's near Earth in its orbit right now, so it'll appear as much as 14% larger. So it should be a beautiful evening. Probably by about 7 o'clock, the sky will be darker because the sun doesn't set till 6:37. You can go out and take a look to the east. That should be above the Cascades for just about everybody by then, and probably see a pretty nice looking harvest moon out there. Maybe you still have something in your garden to harvest, so you can follow up on that. This is the harvest moon this month, but then next month in November, it's the beaver moon and the cold moon for December. That's not a weather forecast. It's just the name of the moon, and hopefully it won't be too cold in December. Cold enough for snow and skiing, but maybe not. It's cold enough to bring it down here. Take a look at the smoke model. You can see as we switch to offshore winds, we are going to see a little bit of that wildfire smoke work its way into western Washington. It doesn't stick around very long or very heavy, and then as we put that back into motion, it pushes on to the east. Even on the east side, by the time we hit midweek, we should see enough wind to kind of move that and mix that smoke in, so it shouldn't be too bad over there by mid to late this week, it looks like. So checking for the shorter term forecast, air quality today and tomorrow, basically good over in western Washington and moderate to maybe unhealthy for sensitive individuals, and a few places near the Cascades might drop into moderate here in western Washington. Look at our forecast high temperatures today. You can see in the mid 60s north to the low 70s south, and then tomorrow we peak out being mostly in the mid 60s up to the north, but into the low to some mid 70s down in the South Sound. And then as we go from Tuesday to Wednesday, we fall off the cliff temperature wise. Not that badly though. High temperatures drop back to the upper 50s and low 60s, and they're going to be staying roughly in that range for the remainder of the week. And then over the weekend, we're going to see them drop even a little bit more, but basically looking for partly sunny with a slight chance of a shower off and on Wednesday through Friday. A little bit better chance over the weekend with those cool temperatures. And then if we look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, you can see we hover right around those upper 50s and low 60s as fall settles in over us.